One of the reasons I'm doing these videos is to help people experience the story of the Lord as a single continuous narrative instead of just a bunch of disconnected anecdotes. And now we've just completed the first chapter of the book, so it's time to do a quick summary of the story so far. Hi, I'm Mac Frazier, pastor of the Washington New Church in Mitchellville, Maryland, and this is part 10 in the series, Let's Read the Gospel of Mark. If you missed the beginning of this series, there's a link to it here and also in the description below. Over the past 9 videos, we've read through the first chapter of the Gospel of Mark. A major reason the Gospel, a book about good news, was written was to tell us about who Jesus is, what his nature is, why he did what he did, and even how we might want to respond to his story. We began first not with Jesus, but with a man named John, whose job it was to prepare people for the coming of the Lord. He did this by baptizing or ritually washing people and teaching them to repent and change their ways. Eventually, Jesus himself came to John to be baptized, and when that happened, a voice from heaven was heard saying, "You are my beloved Son." Then immediately after that, Jesus was whisked away into the wilderness, where we discovered he was tempted or tested by an evil spirit and also ministered to by angels. Upon his returning to civilization, Jesus began to teach people in the city of Capernaum in the region of Galilee, preaching a similar message to the one John the Baptist had taught: repent. After doing this for a little while, Jesus met 2 sets of brothers, all fishermen, and recruited them as students and helpers with his mission. Their names were James, John, Simon, and Andrew. With them, he went back into the city of Capernaum on a Sabbath day and went into the local religious school or synagogue to teach people. While there, Jesus impressed everyone both by his teaching and also through his freeing of a man who had been possessed by an evil spirit. When he returned to the home of Simon and Andrew afterwards, we discovered that their mother had become gravely ill. And then we read that Jesus somehow completely healed her of her sickness. That evening, crowds gathered outside the house, and he ended up healing a lot of sick people and casting out a lot of evil spirits. Interestingly, he repeatedly made a point of preventing those evil spirits from speaking, for fear that they would say who he really was. Very late that night, Jesus left the house and went outside to be alone and to pray. When the sun finally came up, Simon and others who had been looking for him found him, and he announced that it was time for him to begin traveling across the rest of Galilee to teach more people and to cast out more evil spirits. Finally, we read about how on his travels, Jesus met someone with leprosy, a skin condition that made the person an untouchable outcast from society. And Jesus healed him with a touch. And even though Jesus had told the former leper to not tell anyone about what had happened, the man went and told everyone anyway. And Jesus became so famous in Galilee that he could no longer go into any city without attracting a huge mob. This led to him mostly teaching outside the cities, where the crowds would come out to see him in the countryside. And that's where we are so far. So, let's continue the story and see what happened after Jesus and his disciples returned home from their short time traveling around Galilee. Let's read Mark chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. And when he returned to Capernaum after some days, it was reported that he was at home. And many were gathered together, so that there was no more room, not even at the door. And he was preaching the word to them. And they came, bringing to him a paralytic, carried by 4 men. And when they could not get near him because of the crowd, they removed the roof above him. And when they had made an opening, they let down the bed on which the paralytic lay. And when Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Now, some of the scribes were sitting there, questioning in their hearts, "Why does this man speak like that? He is blaspheming. Who can forgive sins but God alone?" And immediately Jesus, perceiving in his spirit that they thus questioned within themselves, said to them, "Why do you question these things in your hearts? Which is easier, to say to the paralytic, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Rise, take up your bed and walk'? But that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins," he said to the paralytic, "I say to you, rise, pick up your bed, and go home." And he rose, and immediately picked up his bed, and went out before them all, so that they were all amazed and glorified God, saying, "We never saw anything like this." Wow, I've got a lot I could say about that. But this video is already a good bit longer than my promised 5 minutes, so we'll just have to wait until next time. For now, let's close, as we always do, by saying the Lord's Prayer together. Ready? Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Thanks for joining me. If you're enjoying this series, please share a link to it with someone today. And have a great day.